welcome to Fear the Final Girl, a Van Ryder Games podcast. We are very excited to be here today. My name is Jamie. I am one of your hosts. I'm here with Evan. Say hello, Evan.
It's me. I'm Evan.
It's me.
I'm the other host.
I was expecting you to say, hi, Evan. You know, the classic joke. So today is...
Wait.
Oh.
Let's do it again.
Okay,
let's do it again. No.
Right.
Do it again and I'll do what you want me to.
Okay. From which part? From the part where, and this is Evan. Say hi, Evan.
Hi, Evan.
Oh, wow. I wasn't expecting you to do that at all.
Was that everything you hoped it would be?
It really was. Thank you. Thank you for that. That made my week. So for today, this is going to be episode 0. We are starting before it even starts. And today we really just wanted to do an introduction of who we are, what to expect from the Final Girl Files podcast. And, you know, we're also just going to have a little bit of fun because why wouldn't we? But we just wanted to introduce ourselves so you know kind of what you're getting yourself into when we finally move into an actual episode 1. So maybe to get started, shall we introduce ourselves? Evan, I would love to throw it over to you. Tell the people a little bit about yourself.
Oh, man, the people want to know all the things, I am
They do.
sure. My name is Evan Derrick, and I am the Vice President and Creative Director at Van Ryder Games. I handle I make our things look pretty, and I'm also a designer. I've designed a number of our products, and I am the co-designer on a certain game called Final Girl that you may or may not have heard of. Yeah, so that is what I do.
Amazing. Evan, I have 2 very important questions for you because for the people who are listening to this for the first time, a big vibe of the podcast is going to be, you know, creepy things, weird things, spooky things. What is your favorite horror movie? I have to know.
I mean, that's an impossible question. I could tell you 5 of my favorite horror movies.
Well, do that. Break the rules. I don't care.
So, probably one of my favorite things is Haunting of Hill House, Netflix special.
Oh, yes.
I absolutely adore that. I've watched it all the way through at least twice, maybe 3 times. So that to me combines just the right amount of scares as well as like heart. I tend to like my horror to have some kind of beating heart and not be a nihilistic piece of crap. That's how I feel. But in terms of movies, in terms of movies, I love A Quiet Place.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of these are newer ones. I love Barbarian.
Haven't seen that yet. I need to watch it.
Shame. Do you know anything about Barbarian?
I do. Yeah, I've seen the trailer and I know a ton of people who've watched it and loved it. I need to actually make the time to do it.
That's bad. You should know nothing about it.
Okay, I know nothing about it.
Yeah, don't read, don't watch anything else, don't read anything else. If you're gonna watch it,
I don't know anything about it besides just the trailer.
Yes,
and I watched that like 2 years ago or whenever it came out.
Go in cold. It's an incredible experience. A movie called It Follows, which I love. That's one of my go-tos whenever I'm showing people when they're asking me what horror movie should I watch. And this is my guilty pleasure. It's one of the first horror movies I ever watched by myself when I was like 16 or 17. My parents did not let me watch horror movies. Event Horizon.
Okay.
It is not a great movie at all. I would not recommend it. But man, it holds a special place in my heart. Watching Sam Neill go to hell on a spaceship is just really special.
That sounds really special. I haven't seen a couple of those, so I'll need to check them out. But I have to agree with The Haunting of Hill House. I've also watched it 3 times through, and I love it. The first time I watched it by myself, my partner was gone on vacation. I was like, why did I do that? That was a terrible idea. But yeah, I love the story and the characters, and yeah, I love the whole thing. It's great.
So which movie would you consider to be your favorite horror movie?
For me, it is, I like fun, silly horror, and I love Ready or Not, which is
Mm-hmm.
It's a relatively like new, it's a very Final Girl-esque horror movie about like a family that has this curse on them, but they're a board game family. That's how they made their wealth. And I think that's really cool. And so like in order to like get the success, they have this curse put on them, and basically the whole thing is that they play a game with anybody new that enters the family, and you have to survive a night of hide and seek. And it's kind of campy. It's really just fun nonsense, and I love it. I love it.
Did you pause? Have you paused the movie when they pan past the glass display case with all of their board games they've made in it?
No, I haven't.
It's pretty interesting, yeah.
Oh, I'll have to do that.
It's really quick,
right.
But it's really neat to see the board games in the glass case that they've made.
Very interesting. I am definitely also more of like a horror TV show kind of person. Like I love The Walking Dead. I have watched the entirety of Walking Dead 5 times through. It is like something that I'll just like repeat. And like American Horror Story and all of that good stuff, and Haunting of Hill House. So anything where I can like binge a series, I'm more into that. And then what about, obviously we work for a board game publisher, that's Ryder Games. What's your favorite board game? And it doesn't have to be a Ryder Games, but if it is, that's totally fine. Although you've designed most of them, so you're a little biased.
No, my own games are not some of my favorites. So that's when you design a board game, you play it hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of times, and then when it finally comes out, you don't want to look at it again for a long time. That's just kind of how it works. So no, I would not consider, I mean, we make great games, but that I would not consider, never mind. It's very hard for me to say my own games are not my favorite. That feels wrong. But
I understand.
The game I would pick is Letters from Whitechapel.
Oh, great.
So I absolutely, it's a hidden movement game where one player plays as Jack the Ripper, and the other players play Scotland Yard detectives trying to track him down. And Jack is secretly moving around the Whitechapel district, murdering wretched pawns. They didn't want to say prostitutes or whatever it was.
Right.
They're
pawns works.
Right. You're murdering wretched pawns. Just but that is one of my absolute favorite board games.
I love that. I actually haven't played it, which is crazy because I love hidden movement and I've played so many, but I haven't had a chance to. So
you haven't seen Barbarian. You haven't played Letters from Whitechapel. You love The Walking Dead.
Great start. Yeah.
I love The Walking Dead, and I really shouldn't share my opinions on The Walking Dead with you.
Because obviously you don't. Have you watched all of it, though, start to finish? It's a roller coaster ride. There's ups, there's downs, there's highs, there's lows, there's terrible, there's great.
I think our first episode might be dealing with zombies.
What?
So
yeah.
Maybe the topic will come up, and I can tell you how I really feel, and then the podcast will be over, and we can never speak to each other again.
I love it. Let's save it for that. Let's do that. So a little bit about me. My name is Jamie. I'm the director of marketing with Ryder Games, and I started with the company in October. So that feels both like yesterday and like forever ago, all at once. I don't know how that happens. But yeah, I'm really excited for this podcast for so many reasons, because I think it's just a chance to, talk more about board games and themes and connecting with communities. So I'm very excited. I also have my own YouTube channel about board games, so it's obviously a passion of mine. So excited to share that.
What would that channel be called, Jamie?
It is called Foster the Meeple. I'm actually wearing my sweater, which I didn't realize. Don't judge the sweater. It's all the logo's like basically completely gone at this point.
That looks like it is a very well-loved sweater that has been through the washing machine a few times.
It sure is. It's one of those situations where the tag's like, don't put this in the washing machine. And I'm like, don't tell me what to do. Don't tell me how to live my life. But yeah, so I'm just excited. And I've already talked about my favorite horror movie, my favorite board game. Listen, okay, my favorite board game is Final Girl. But I will pick a different one because it's too obvious.
It really is. It really is, though. It feels like
really is.
You're the marketing director for Ryder Games, and Final Girl is our flagship product. So you saying that Final Girl is your favorite game feels like absolute BS. But it is not. Right? I 100% promise you, Jamie is one of the biggest Final Girl fans in the world. In fact, that's one of the reasons why we even learned about you and looked at hiring you, was because of your love for Final Girl.
Yes, it is a true passion. It's my most played game of all time. I force feed it to people when they're like, what should I play? I'm like, well, I have only one answer, and it's Final Girl. But because we'll probably talk about Final Girl so much throughout the life of this podcast, it's in the title, I will pick another game that is my second favorite, and that is Obsession from Ryder Games. Have you played Obsession, Evan?
No, but I was just talking to someone about playing it and learning to play it. I'm very interested in playing what is basically Downton Abbey, the game, right?
Yes. And it is amazing. So like you're just a fancy British family hosting events, inviting guests and people. My favorite part about this game is that like you will have Americans attend your party, but they're all gossips, so they'll lose you points. So you're inviting them because they have a lot of money, but you also want to get rid of them before the end of the game, which I think is hilarious. And there's just something like really like interesting and different about the way that this game works in terms of like every round you make an event and you're trying to marry one of the Fairchilds. So I can't remember their names, but there's the son and the daughter, and you get to choose which one you want to marry if you meet their requirements, because they have different interests. And it's funny. Like the flavor text on all the cards is hilarious. The names of the people, I just really like it. I think you'll really like it. It's great.
Well, you couldn't have picked two games on further ends of the spectrum from one another, Jamie.
Well, I mean, they did make a movie called Pride, Prejudice, and Zombies, so you could have like Obsession as a spooky theme. Maybe one of the Fairchilds is a Final Girl. I don't know. So that's a little bit about us. We have planned a small game where Evan and I are going to play a quick game of Tagline. So we've come prepared with 3 taglines, and they're either from a horror movie or a horror game. My horror games are all board games. Evan's horror games would be video games. So our goal... Go ahead.
I have picked 5 taglines. Apparently, I'm not very good at following your directions. Oh,
Evan,
so I should pick 3,
amazing.
Huh?
No, I also have 5. Well, right. I was like, just in case. So we each have 5. Let's do that. So there's 2 things we have to do. We have to identify if it's from a game or if it's from a movie, and then we have to try and guess which game or movie. Make sense?
Mm-hmm. I also have board games in mind as well. So I've got board games, video games, and movies. So you're really going to have to be on your toes.
Evan's just trying to outperform me, and that's fine. We can handle it. All right, so you go first. You give me something.
This is, well, should I say this is an easy one? I'm starting with an easy one because if you don't get it, then it'll be okay. All right, you ready? Ready? Here it goes.
Ready.
Some places are like people. Some shine and some don't.
That's okay. I don't know what it is. And you said that it's supposed to be easy? Oh my God. Some places are like people. Some shine and some don't.
Yeah, the name is in the tagline, or it is hidden in the tagline.
Oh! Is it The Shining?
Yes, it is!
Yeah! It's a movie and it's The Shining. Okay.
All right.
So I'm amazing. I got that right.
1 point for Jamie.
1 point for me. Some of mine are so obvious that it's not one thing, but all right, it's fine. Okay, this is my first one.
Okay.
Murder your inn's guest, make money, but don't forget to hide the bodies.
The Bloody Inn.
Dang it, that was pretty obvious.
Which is a board game.
Yeah,
Who's it published by?
Oh.
I could tell you the artist. It's Santiago.
Yeah, I love the artist.
The Brazilian artist. He's fantastic, but I actually can't tell you who designed it. It's a fun little board game where people show up you're in and you try to murder them, and
you're bribing police and you're yeah.
It's a dark, twisted little game with really beautiful art.
Great. Yeah, and you can actually try it for free on Board Game Arena. For anybody that doesn't know, Board Game Arena, you could play games online. You could try that one on there for free.
All right, you ready for number 2?
Yeah.
Evil is only a word. The reality is much worse.
I feel like I don't know what it is, but I'm going to guess.
Okay.
Is it Resident Evil?
Good gracious. Yes. Wow. Really? Yes, it is.
Yes. But isn't that a movie and a game?
Yeah, that's the tagline from the game.
Ah, okay.
Well, according to the internet, it is, so.
Woohoo! Look at me go.
Yes, it was also made into a movie.
I saw the movie like forever ago, but it just said evil. The first thing that came to my mind was that. That was that. All right.
Well, good job.
All right. Are you ready for this one?
Mm-hmm.
Live your day, get killed, again. Make every death count.
Edge of Tomorrow.
Nope.
Oh, I guess that's not technically a horror movie. So it would be Happy Death Day then.
Yes. Which is a movie that I also love. That's my kind of nonsense.
All right, so I get half a point for that.
Okay, 0.5 for you.
1.5 for me. All right, number 3. Classic movie monsters terrorize a town! Exclamation point.
Horrified.
Jeez, man, you're killing it.
I am crushing it.
Number 3. Dang.
Woo. I play that game a lot. Warrior monks work together to save the village from the evil Wu Fang and his ghosts.
Ghost is in the title. Ghost Stories?
Yes! Which is an amazing board game. Have you played it?
I have played it once, like many, 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 many years ago. Remember thinking that it must be impossible to beat.
Yes, it's like a badge of honor if you can beat this board game. It's essentially like tower defense where like there's all of these spirits coming in at you in the village, and it feels hopeless and it's so punishing, but I love it.
Boy, we're doing very good.
I know, we're amazing at this.
We're very smart and cultured people. All right, now we're getting to my harder ones, I hope.
Okay.
Okay. Every town has its secrets. Some are just darker than others.
Oh. I feel like I know what this is. I don't know. Oh, shoot. Every town has its secrets. Oh my god, the only thing that's coming to my head is Hocus Pocus, and that's obviously not it.
Nope, it is not Hocus Pocus. It is...
I don't know what it is.
Silent Hill.
Oh, Silent Hill. Of course.
The video game, which was also turned into a movie, but this is the video game. Really, honestly, one of the most terrifying video games I've ever played in my life.
Well, the movie is also... It's just, I don't know that the movie, it's been so long since I've seen it, but like the whole theme of it is just, don't like. This one I feel like is too obvious, but I have to do it.
Okay.
Trapped in time, surrounded by evil, low on gas.
Army of Darkness.
Yeah. It's the low on gas thing that gives it away.
Yep. Gas for ashes, chainsaw arm.
Exactly, yeah.
All right, here's your final one. What is it? What am I at? 3.5? 3.5 to 3. All right, Jamie.
Oh, boy.
For the win. Or, well, to keep yourself in the game. It's not what you're expecting. Conceived in terror, born in fear.
Is it Chucky?
Nope.
Oh, that's Child's Play. Well, what is it?
Rosemary's Baby.
Oh my god, I should have known. Okay, I gotta pick one of my hardest ones.
Wow, wow.
Womp womp. As you struggle to keep survivors alive, how will you value group versus personal needs?
Is that City of Horror?
No. It's not. It's Dead of Winter, and it's a board game.
Okay. It could have been City of Horror because you were also trying to keep survivors alive.
So who won? Was it me?
It was not. It was me.
Well, good job.
By
so that
a half a point. By a half a point.
By a half a point that you gave yourself.
Well, fine, Jamie. It was a tie then. It can be a tie.
Ooh, I like it. So for the next thing that we want to do is we wanted to just introduce you to Ryder Games, because obviously this is a Ryder Games podcast. So I'm going to throw it over to Evan, and he's going to tell you a little bit about us.
So Ryder Games has been around for 12 years, 13 years, something like that. It was started by my partner, AJ Porfirio. And I joined the company about 7 years ago. Time gets a little funny, and I'm not entirely sure. But AJ had published a number of games, including a solo game that was very successful on Kickstarter called Hostage Negotiator. And then after I joined, we began publishing other things. And so really, Ryder Games specializes in publishing and creating highly thematic games. Now, we are expanding in publishing all kinds of games, party games, family games, different kinds of things. But our core has always been really thematic board games. So Hostage Negotiator, we have a game called Detective City of Angels, that is set in the 1940s in Los Angeles. It's very noir drenched. And of course, Final Girl, which simulates your own kooky, wacky, crazy horror movie and tells you a new story every single time you play. And it's super entertaining even when you die. So we are starting to put out role-playing games. We are continuing to create more Final Girl products. We are developing brand new titles. I'm a designer. My partner AJ is a designer. We have other designers in the company. So we're having a great time, and we're super excited about all the really, really cool stuff that we're creating and putting out.
That is definitely one of the things that I guess I wanted to touch on too for the podcast, because obviously it's a Ryder Games podcast. So we are going to be kind of like sharing a little bit about us and our games throughout, like intertwined with the episodes. We might not have one game talked about throughout an entire episode, but every episode is going to have a featured Ryder game. So for today, that game is Final Girl.
Whoa, what?
I know.
Spoiler.
But specifically, the Final Girl starter set, which is the absolute best way for you to get started in Final Girl if it is something that you are interested in. Final Girl is a solo-only game where you play as a fearless Final Girl. You have one objective: kill the killer before they kill you. And there are a lot of feature films out at this point. I think there's 11 total, including our special feature film, which is holiday themed. Mm-hmm. And then more coming soon. So, for some people it can be overwhelming. You're like, well, which one do I pick? What do I do? My answer is always pick whatever speaks to your heart. But if you want a really great entry point, starting point, the Final Girl starter set is the best way to go. Would you agree? I
would absolutely agree. Also because the feature film in it is the one I designed, which means it's clearly the best. But do not be scared away by us saying it's a solo game. I think for a number of people listening to this, who board games are a very social activity. It's one of the reasons why we love them. This is a game for one player, which sounds crazy, but
wild.
If it is worth trying out, and it is a great game to play with other people who could even watch. Similar to, oftentimes I would sit on the couch and play video games, and my partner would sit and watch and make comments and make fun of me and be frustrated when I couldn't find the object that clearly should be right there or whatever. you can have that experience too with Final Girl. So do not be turned off because it's a solo game. It is a fantastic game, and you owe it to yourself to try it. If just to try a one-player board game.
I totally agree. Like, really, Final Girl is what got me into solo gaming, and now I'm a huge solo gamer. Like, it's something that I do all the time, and we call it Solo Plus. You can play with somebody else. I've played with my husband. I ran the killer. He died a horrible death, which, it's just entertaining. It's entertainment for sure. But we're going to be talking about Final Girl, I'm sure, so much throughout the lifespan of this podcast. I mean, it's part of our namesake, and it's really, exactly. And it's just a huge part of what we do and what our community loves. And so, I mean, you got to have a little sprinkle of Final Girl, a little sprinkle of pixie dust from Hans, the butcher.
So I understand that this podcast is not just as lovely as you and I are. This podcast is not just going to be us, is it?
No, correct. So this is a good time to jump into like what to actually expect from the Final Girl Files podcast. Really the goal here is we wanted to create a podcast that is tailored both for, seasoned enthusiasts of gaming and newcomers, because what we really want to do is we want to connect people who may have passions outside of board games and kind of the world of gaming to a hobby that we love through kind of our shared interest in all things weird and creepy and horror-esque and, so many different themes. But it's also a way for us to connect with our community. But that means like every episode we are going to be covering different topics. So we've got a variety of topics. The first one, as we already mentioned, is zombies, which we'll talk about a little bit later. But we're also going to be talking about things like board games and movies and pop culture and books. And we are going to be incorporating special guests by inviting different people to join us for the conversation. As lovely as it is to hear my voice and Evan's voice, you might want to break that up with some other people. So we'll have experts in the field, we'll have fellow creators, fellow designers and publishers, fan favorites, and just a variety of different people so that, we're having some really good discussions. I already mentioned that we're going to be doing a game of the month, and that game of the month is always going to be kind of tied into the topic somehow. So that's something to look forward to. And a big thing that I'm really excited about is the audience participation piece. Once again, it's not just about me and Evan, although I'm sure like we love when things are about us. Who doesn't? I do. That's why we're both here probably. But
I mean, narcissism is my middle name.
That's a funny middle name. So we are going to be inviting the audience and our Discord to participate in the episodes. And at the end of every episode and in our Discord, we will be sharing a question, a prompt, and a way for you to get involved by leaving an email or a voicemail. And we'll let you know what that question is for our first episode very shortly. But that's just also a shout out to the Ryder Games Discord. If you're not in it, if you're interested, it's a really active community and people talk about everything in there. So it's not just about board games, although that's a huge part of it. But we've got there's channels specifically talking about like horror movies and things. There's just to talk to people about life and all of that stuff. So if you're looking for a community to get engaged in, I would say join the Ryder Games Discord. And there will be a podcast specific channel in there for you to discuss episodes, ask questions, and participate in the audience participation piece.
I'd say the audience participation piece is one of the things I'm looking most forward to because our fans are fantastic.
Yes.
They are incredible.
Fantastic.
They are fantastic. I didn't intend for it to sound like that, but as soon as I started saying it, I was like, you know what? I'm just going to go with it. It's going to work and not seem too cheesy. So anyway, our fans are amazing, and I can't wait to have them be involved and participate in things.
Same. And I think like, once again, just tying back to like, hey, if you're interested in getting started in Final Girl, like the Discord will give you so many tips and tricks and advice and all of that stuff. So it's just a really great place to kind of dip your toes in the world of board games and Van Ryder games. So I guess speaking of that, our first episode, we've already mentioned, it's going to be all about zombies. And we do have two very special guests that are going to be joining us for that first episode. We have AJ and Julie, who just happen to be part of the Van Ryder Games team.
Wow, it is just such a coincidence that they were free to come on our Van Ryder Games podcast.
Exactly. They're like our little guinea pigs, which is great. So both AJ and Julie, like I just mentioned, work with us here at Van Ryder Games. They are both designers. They have designed games for Van Ryder Games. And the topic is zombies. And I don't know just how it happens, but AJ, Julie, and various people in our organization really love zombies and know a heckin' lot about them. So we thought, what better topic to start than with a couple of zombie experts. So they're coming on to chat about all things undead with us. And, you know, the episode's going to cover everything from the science of zombies, how they show up in pop culture, maybe some survival tips. It's going to be a scary good time. So I highly recommend that people come and join us for episode 1, which is all about zombies. And then I guess speaking of that, Evan, I'm going to throw it over to you for how can we get some audience participation?
All right, so what we want to know on the premiere episode, because this is episode 0, this is not the premiere episode, this is the teaser episode. So on the premiere episode of the Final Girl Files, what we want to know is, what is your most creative zombie survival tip or strategy? Because if you are like me, and I guarantee you, you're all like me, you have thought to yourself, what would I do if there was actually a zombie apocalypse? Now, me personally, I would probably die, and my whole family would die, and it would be terrible, because there's no way I'm surviving that. However, I'd like to think that I would, and there are probably many creative ways that I could do so. So that is what we would like to know. So, Jamie, where can they submit these creative zombie survival ideas?
So there's going to be 2 ways, but the main way, like I mentioned before, is going to be in the Van Ryder Games Discord. So links and everything are going to be in the show notes of this episode. So definitely make sure that you check them out there. But we will have a podcast dedicated channel in the Van Ryder Games Discord, or you can email marketing@vanrydergames.com. We are accepting voicemails, videos, or just written, whatever you feel the most comfortable with, but we're going to pick a couple and kind of read them out, incorporate them into the episode. So get creative, get weird with it, you know, be silly. We love that kind of thing. The zombie apocalypse just happens to be my Roman Empire. I think about it more than I should. I've got strategies. I'm excited to share them with you. I'm in Canada, so I feel like I have an upper hand because the zombies will be frozen half the year. So, you know, you love to see it. But that's how you can participate, and we're really excited to kind of hear and see what you all come up with. For sure.
Absolutely.
Cool. Awesome. So that is everything that we had planned for today's episode 0. Just a little taste of all of the amazing things that you can expect. So just to recap, first episode is going to be about zombies, coming soon with special guests AJ and Julie from Van Ryder Games. We are going to be talking about not just board games, but kind of all things in the realm of weird, horror, pop culture, tons of different topics, and we're going to be wrapping in a little gaming into all of that, because realistically, this is just our big plot and ploy to get more people to join the board game hobby. That's be honest.
Absolutely true. And everybody, you love watching movies, TV shows, reading comics, playing video games, all that kind of stuff. Board games should absolutely be a part of that pantheon of pop culture fun and goodness.
Exactly. So thank you all so much for listening. If you are interested, we are also recording this in a visual way. So we do have a YouTube channel, youtube.com/VanRyderGames. If you'd like to look at our lovely faces, you could do that too. Or you could just listen to us wherever podcasts are found. And if you enjoy, definitely give us a follow and a subscribe. We would love to kind of have you along this journey with us. But that is everything from us for today. So we are signing out. Thank you and goodbye.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.